Time now for the Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
Here we are in Washington, D.C. Of course, the State of the Union is tonight. The congressional Republicans have invited us to Capitol Hill to speak with them today in advance of the speech to talk about their agenda. We have a super secret assignment tomorrow, and I'll be telling you more about that. Mark Davis will be in for me here at the desk, but I will be calling into Mark to let you know a little bit more about our super secret assignment. In the meantime, Kirsten Pelz is with us. She is the press secretary for the RNC and joins us in advance of the State of the Union this morning. Kirsten, it's good to see you again. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So I've been asking people who I presume are, fans of the president's, voters, supporters of the president and the Republicans, generally speaking, what it is they'd like to hear and what they'd like to see the president say tonight. I think everybody understands. Most everyone's thoughts are still on the economy. That does seem to be what the president is focused on tonight. What can you say as far as the RNC is looking out over the panoply of candidates all over the country? That's your job, sort of a national perspective on all these individual congressional races. Is the economy the thing right now?
I think the economy is incredibly important. I was reading this morning that President Trump said that it was going to be quite a long speech, and that I did see some indications that, of course, the economy is going to be a central focus, given the fact that the president has a lot of accomplishments to speak to, and given the fact that voters really care about being able to afford basic necessities and being able to afford things like a home. They want to be able to live out the American dream. And so I think this will be a central focus for President Trump. I also saw that he wants to talk about America at its 250th anniversary as prosperous and respected. And so I think those will be two central themes that he'll talk about tonight, along with a whole host of other things. We know the foreign peace deals, for example, all he's done to bring down prescription drug prices, tax cuts. He has a lot to speak to. And so I think we'll see a exhaustive sort of list and just an explanation of all the things this administration has done and will continue to do as we move forward into this midterm year.
It's no secret the history is not on the Republican side, who are in total control of Congress right now. History just suggests loss in the midterms. But here's what's a little different this time. There is zero enthusiasm for Democrats. I mean, zero. Every poll shows it. If there is a lack of enthusiasm for Republicans, it's not like, boy, are they excited to go vote Democrat. So does that mean Republicans still have a window of opportunity? That is assuming, and maybe you don't as press secretary of the RNC, assuming the Republicans are slated to lose just because history dictates it. Does that mean Republicans have an inside here that they didn't in the past?
Well, I definitely think so. And the reason that I think Republicans are poised to defy history this time is because you look at the approval rating for Democrats. It is in the gutter. It is just so low. The American people do not trust Democrats to solve their problems. The American people are distrustful of Democrats, and that's for a reason. Look at what they're doing tonight. They're going to be boycotting the State of the Union address. They're going to be sitting it out to do their little sideshows where they're going to be grandstanding. But remember, they have no solutions to offer. All they have is far left extremism, chaos, obstruction. And I think it's very unpatriotic to boycott the State of the Union address. You should be rooting for our country. Even if you disagree with President Trump, you should be rooting for all of the accomplishments that he's doing for the American people. You should be on the side of the American people instead of rooting against them. And so I really do think it's the contrast between the America First Party and the anti-America Party.
Kirsten, when you talk to members of Congress, again, when you're talking about the RNC, that's big tent. Every member of the House has got to go run their own race in their respective districts. Are they messaging different things respective to their districts, or is there a discussion about messaging broadly? Are you targeting certain districts? We hear the fundraising under President Trump has been huge. We know there's going to be a big convention, which is unusual and different. In fact, I think that news broke the last time you were with us. But strategy-wise, how would you talk to congressional Republicans in particular?
Well, every race is different. And of course, every candidate will know their district very well, their constituency very well. And so they will be tailoring, of course, their focus to make sure that those concerns of their constituencies are heard. I think when you look at a national message, what we look at is unification around these central ideas of the America First platform that was so successful in 2024, that brought this large coalition together across the country, that you saw independents swinging towards President Trump. You saw younger voters swinging towards this message, this America First message. And so I think that when you look at a lot of the policies that this administration has been carrying out, the focuses of this administration, putting the American worker first, putting the American family first, I think those broad themes will apply across the country as they did so successfully this last presidential election.
Kirsten Pell's with us, the RNC's national press secretary. Again, I know you're not in a place maybe to necessarily say this, but I would ask you anyway, what would you want to see congressional Republicans take action to do before the midterms that they could really sell? Is there a particular piece of legislation or action they could take? I've been asking callers today to the show about it. A lot of them have said, get the SAVE Act passed. I mean, if you could tell all of Congress, I know you probably wouldn't presume to do that, but you as the press secretary for the RNC, if you could say, hey, here's one thing that would really help, message to the folks this fall, what would it be?
I think the Save America Act is actually a huge accomplishment that was passed by House Republicans, and now we just need to see it passed in the Senate as well. And it essentially would put into law a very simple premise that the vast majority of American people agree with, that you need voter ID in order to vote in American elections. And that is something that at the RNC we are very focused on. We are very focused on election integrity, at securing the vote and making sure that the ballots are secure, that you have to prove that you are a U.S. citizen in order to vote. And again, when you pull Democrats on this issue, it's 76% of Democrats. It's over 80% of the general public. And so I think when you look at these sort of 80-20 issues, and this is one of them, securing the border is another, tax cuts, more money in the pockets of American families. I think when Republicans take the side of the 80-20 issues on the 80 side, and the Democrats take the 20% side because they are beholden to a far left radical base, that really strikes the heart of the message that this is a broad coalition united around putting America first. And the Democrats are unfortunately so far to the left that they are just out of touch with reality.
Kirsten, do you believe the president or Republicans broadly, this coalition of younger men that voted for them in the last one, do you believe the polls? I mean, look, the Washington Post, for instance, had this bogus poll of 2,500 adults, that 60% of the country now is upset with President Trump or whatever. That's a silly poll, of course. But, I mean, I do see data that says the young men that voted for Republicans and President Trump are now a little disenchanted. Is there a change in messaging necessary here? We were talking about the focus of maybe the podcast scene that was heavily utilized in 2024, now not so much by the president. Could we see a re-engagement on that front, tackling some of the things that maybe are more difficult or challenging or divisive for Republicans? I mean, issues, and you know them. I mean, I'm just bringing them up because they're out there. The Epstein stuff, the Israel stuff. I know it's not where the president wants to focus, but it is where a lot of these folks still seem to focus their time. So is it useful to engage there, do you think, for the president and the Republicans?
Well, I have read that President Trump and cabinet members, Republican candidates, are being encouraged to go on to podcasts and to make sure to not just go onto cable television, because let's be honest, a lot of young voters are tuning out of cable television, right, and they're on different forms of media. And so I think that was a very important strategy in 2024 that President Trump utilized. And at the RNC, we actually launched a TikTok account recently, last month, to really engage with younger voters. And we are going toe-to-toe with Democrats on the app, and we are making sure to push America First content to highlight all the accomplishments, but also to highlight all of the crazy things that Democrats are doing, how delusional they are, how out of touch with reality that they are. And so I think the reason that younger voters swung towards the president in 2024 is they really saw that contrast. And so I think that speaks right to the heart of the strategy here. And I think that's what we're going to be doing going forward. February
is almost over, still months to go. I mean, it's an eternity in politics. Is the conventional wisdom still that we could see an economy really pop here in the next month or two post-tax season, and that might just change the vibe generally? Will there be a vibe shift? Is the RNC kind of counting on a vibe shift?
Well, I definitely think so. And I know that I've heard President Trump say the same, Scott Bessent and others talking about how this economy is going to be coming in hot. We look at the recent jobs reports. This administration is really defying expectations on all of the economic markers that you would typically look at to measure the health of an economy. You could see interest rates coming down further, supercharging the economy. Again, those tax refunds are going to hit people's wallets very soon. And so I think inflation is coming down, and it's going to come down even further. So yeah. I think we will.
Kirsten, thanks a lot for your time today. I know it's a big task as the press secretary of the RNC. We'll stay in touch. Thank you very much.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel. Stay informed anytime, anywhere with the Salem News Channel and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This has been The Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.